Yes, veganism is a religion.
Woo! That is satisfying, baby. It feels like a tarp.
And this is the perfect consistency. This is what you want to see. It should be nice and stretchy, and when you hold it up, it should stay together really well.
So to grab the skin, I'm just going to spray a little bit of a nonstick spray onto my spatula. We're going to use the silicone spatula and just see if we can pick this up in one piece, which we did. That looks perfect.
As you see here, I am using a spoon to mix the dough and the seasoning together. This is where it starts looking very realistic. It looks like real meat. If you look here, I was really struggling with getting it to flip over, and the reason was that the oil was missing from the recipe. So I later added it in, and then I had no more trouble with it.
Look at this!
And then all I'm going to do is just brush over on the inside of some of these layers, which
they don't break too easily, but when you do store them again, make sure to store them, in an airtight container and put it back into the plastic bag.
Find the thicker you do it, and if you do it on the lines, the less likely that is to happen. But I'm trying out your techniques.
Or like a plastic bag. Do you ever feel like a plastic? I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to start slicing it into 1 to 2 inch strips. I love trying these recipes because I'm introduced to so many new, to me, ingredients.
Now here is how I make the drumstick shape by knotting the dough. I stretch it out and I create a knot right in the middle. I then create 2 more knots, and then what I do is I insert the popsicle stick.
all we're going to do is try to wrap this wing in the skin, the soy skin, and make sure it's completely coated all the way down to the bone.
Here I take my hands and I start kneading the seasonings and the dough together. I do knead it for about 5 minutes. Now this is after I had added the oil, and here's how I make it. I go back and forth to alternate the colors, and I tilt the pan over to the side to make the batter as thin as possible.
And we're going to cut this into strips, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in width. I'm going to do some thinner ones and some wider ones because we might need some wider ones for the wider part of the drumstick.
And you can see this one's a little bit more oily. That's okay. We're just going to give it a twist and give it a knot. So now at this point, we just want to repeat this process.
So today we're going to be making 8 rolls, and you only need 1 sheet for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold up the circle until I get basically 8 triangles.
The next one, we will wet it and see if that makes a difference at all. I'm just going to wet it like literally just for like a second and see if that makes it easier with the scissors. Oh, that definitely makes it a lot easier.
We'll take our drumstick, and I'm gonna just put a little bit of our slurry on there to help it stick.
Right through the middle there, almost through the top of that first knot. I then take the remaining pieces, wrap them around the popsicle stick, and I just tuck it in wherever I can.
Oh, that looks perfect. I think that works perfect.
And if you look to the top right there, you can see that I have an extra piece of dough. And what I did was I left that out to later incorporate it into the colored dough to give it a marbling effect.
And I'm going to take one strip here, one at a time, and I'm going to wrap it around, and nothing is going to go wrong. And I'm going to keep the wrapping a bit thicker at the end so it mimics an actual drumstick.
Usually there's little knots, little holes that you could simply push into, and it should stay like you're making a crepe. So the reason for it is the consistency will be better if the crepe is the thinnest you can get it, unless of course you like the thicker portions of bacon, but it doesn't fry the same way, so I recommend making them as thin as possible.
So this goes really quickly. Put these into a large bowl. They're so cool. Look how transparent they are. They have like the weight and sort of the feel of a plastic bag.
Voila, look at that. Okay, try to get them to be roughly the same size. Obviously that end piece looks nothing like bacon, but that's okay. All right, so do this with like 12 sheets.
And we're just gonna keep doing this until the cows come home. This is definitely a bit time consuming, but...
And there you have it. You have made your drumstick shape. This is about 3 minutes later where I realized I wasn't happy with the color, so I ended up adding about 10 to 12 more drops of the food coloring. I take the back of my spatula and then I spread that batter over. It doesn't matter that the colors mix because the final results will still look good.
Now we need to make some glue so that the yuba skins can stick to our sugar cane. So we're going to just use some more cornstarch. 2 tablespoons.
I could see if you made a big batch of these at once and then froze them, they would be really worth it. It looks pretty good.
And now you will see how I incorporate the dough that is sitting on the side. That's going to represent the fatty tissue of the quotation marks meat. Cutting the crepes into strips. Now I do have to say the dough does stick together a little bit because you're pressing down on that knife. So it binds together, but it's just a matter of taking it and separating it. And I did that to all the strips that I cut.
And again, this is just chicken flavor. Before I get all of the comments, listen to me. This is plant-based. I swear to you, there's no chicken in it. But it really tastes like chicken. It's pretty good.